What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 1 of the Dadspective Show. If you've been a longtime listener of ours, this previously used to be the Ivy League Mindset podcast. Hawk and I have done a little rebranding, and we are now bringing you the Dadspective Show. Hawk, how are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good, man. Check out the banner. Dan made it. Oh, there we go. You guys see it? You guys like it? How you been?
I've been good, man. How have you been?
I've been pretty good. I'm dealing with some allergy type thing. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's definitely not COVID.
It's that time of year, man. The sun is out. The dandelions are strong.
Yeah, it's killing me.
Yeah.
I'm good though.
It's funny because like you're sneezing and like sniffing, right? And everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, are you sick? Are you sick?" And it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's just allergies. It's just allergies.
Yeah. You can't even blow your nose nowadays without people giving you dirty look, right?
I know. It's crazy, man. So we're gonna kick this episode off. We're gonna talk a little bit about obviously the new name, the rebranding. Like I said, if you've been listening to us since day one, thank you very much, and thank you for continuing to listen to us. We switched it up from Ivy League Mindset to Dadspective for a couple reasons. Hawk and I are both fathers, and we both like had a chat after last season, and we were like, we sort of want to share a little bit more about our perspectives as fathers and fatherhood and life with kids. And we loved what we were doing, and this podcast isn't going to be just about dads and fatherhood. This is still going to be the same type of stuff we were talking about before. You're just going to get a little bit more of that fatherhood stuff from us. Right, Hawk?
Yeah. So a little bit of aspect from our point of view with trying to balance stuff with kids. And yeah, we appreciate everybody that's been with us with the last couple seasons. Every single guest has been amazing. So this will be a good change here, and we hope you guys like what we have in store. I think it's gonna be really fun.
I think it's going to be good. Think of it as like Hawk and Dan 2.0. We're coming at you with a little bit of more knowledge that we've learned from our first 2 seasons, and we're ready to give her and yeah, just share our knowledge and hope we can help you guys get better, because that's our goal at the end of the day, right?
Yes, sir. How have you been handling the whole situation with COVID and with your kids, trying to keep them busy? Because you have a well, for people who don't know, Dan just had when was your baby born? A few months ago?
He's 1 now.
He's 1 now. See, that's how fast time flies, guys, with kids, especially with kids.
Yeah, man, it's been good. It's been a crazy experience, but I've really appreciated the slowness that has come of it. That forced slowness, right? Because even if you want to go a mile a minute right now, you really can't because of the restrictions that are out there, different things being shut down, not being able to really go out and do anything, like just really being forced to stay at home, bunker down, and just take time to think about like what really makes you happy, what you really like to do. So, I don't know, it's been good. Like, I look at every situation in life, you always take the positives out of it. Sure, there are going to be some negatives, but you always just look at the positives and you move forward with that.
Nice, man. How's your wife been with the whole situation?
Good. I mean, she's going a little stir crazy. Like I do most of the grocery shopping and going out and doing things, So yeah, a little stir crazy, but I'm as good as can be, I guess, right? Like none of us have really ever experienced anything like this before. This is sort of a first for everybody out there. So I guess like you can only be doing as good as you can be doing, What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been trying to make the best of the situation, trying to keep the kids busy as possible. My little ones are extremely active, so they don't run out of energy. Even if they run out a little bit of energy, they start going crazy. So it's fun though. It's really fun. Just trying to keep challenging their mind and their body, right? They kind of know like if the healthier they are, the better situation, right? So we try to keep challenging them in every way, right?
Yeah, for sure. On that note, how has your like fitness been during COVID with gyms closed, obviously? I mean, people that have been following us for a while, and if you don't know, Hawk and I both have pretty sweet home gyms in our houses. So the fact of not being able to go to the gym hasn't really stopped us, but like how has your fitness been?
It's funny with the home gym thing. At first, people think you're crazy because you have a nice home gym. I love your sauna right behind you there too, so I'm pretty jealous of that. And hopefully, I can convince my wife to have one of those. But yeah, fitness for me, obviously, I love doing jujitsu and rock climbing and stuff like that, and you can't do that right now. So you just adapt. Usually I do 80% body weight and like 20% weights and a lot of mobility and functionality and stuff like that. I switched over to a lot of weights. So I've gained a few pounds, right? So, and I'm looking a little bit more thick than usual, but that's okay. I'm having fun with it, just trying to keep busy until things open back up and just keep it moving. I got to keep challenging my mind and stay motivated. But yeah, working out, I've always found fun, so it's not a problem for me. How about you?
Same. I mean, I like you and I have sort of totally two different ways that we do fitness and stay fit, right? So like for me, I don't really go out and do anything in like a gym setting or with anything like that because of how busy I am. My routine for working out has always been working out at home, like doing my own thing by myself in the home gym. So as far as that goes, nothing's really changed, you know. It sort of has given me a little more time to work out and do some fitness. Been lifting a little bit heavier weights. I find for me there's something about like lifting weights and relieving stress. Like I can do a good body weight workout for like conditioning to get like my heart going and get a good sweat on. But sometimes when you just need to relieve some stress, for me, nothing really compares to throwing a barbell around or throwing some dumbbells or a kettlebell around and getting the weight in. I was lucky enough to get a concept rower right before everything closed down.
Yeah,
So that was a sweet addition to the gym. And yeah, it's been fun. Like, especially with the kids, I've been doing a lot of workouts and I'll bring my daughter out with me and she'll play or we'll work out together. And it's cool just being able to show them and teach them that like, this is something dad does for fun. This isn't something that like I hate to do. And then like they notice it and then like playtime for them sometimes doing some squats and some jumping jacks and some fun
yeah,
stuff like that. Um, yeah. So like for me, nothing's really changed. And like, because I think that I've always worked out by myself in my garage home gym, the mind set didn't shift at all. You know, like I know for some people, if you go to a gym all the time, that mindset shift from having to go to a gym to doing a bodyweight workout out at home, a lot of people have a hard transition with that, right? And then that might knock some motivation off for them. But for me, everything's been good, stronger than ever, better. It's given me more time to sort of focus in and dial in the nutrition and different things like that too. So yeah, I got no complaints. If anything, I'm coming out of this thing fitter and stronger than I did going into it.
that's good, man. One thing that I liked what you said there is bringing your daughter out, and I'm a like strong believer in leading by example. So I love that the kids will always follow, well, not always, but they always kind of look up to you or see what you're doing and they're like, "Oh, I want to try that too." So the more that you do it, the more it's the norm for them, right? So if working out is the norm for them, hopefully they can carry that into their adulthood or their teenagehood. Teenagehood, is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
no, I know what you
It
mean.
is now.
Just like as if you're like the norm for them is going to the park and playing on a play set. The norm for them is doing something like that, right? That's just like another form of activity that you do with them.
Yeah. And I love it. And actually, my wife and I have been working out a little bit more. She didn't really like me training her at first because she thinks I'm not treating her very well. But you know, you got to work out. I'm just kidding. I treat her very well, guys.
No, you know, it's funny, like that you say that. Um, like, you know, I'm into CrossFit, and the fittest women on earth, female on earth, her husband's her personal trainer. And sometimes in documentaries, they talk about how like there's that separation between like relationship and coach, because there's sometimes, excuse me, where you have to be strict and hard to push them so that you can make them grow. And then it's like they might play the card of like, but you're my husband
Yeah.
relationship, but it's like, no, right now I'm your coach. Like that's two totally separate um like connections. So like when I'm your coach, I'm your coach, but then after this we're right back to whatever the normal relationship is, right?
I got a question for you then.
Yeah.
What do you think of, how everybody takes, this is my opinion as a trainer. I find not the same strategy of training somebody works for every single person, meaning if, and pardon my language on this, guys, if somebody calls me a bitch when I'm doing something and they know I can do it, that I'm just being weak, right? Weak-minded, whatever. And they call me a little bitch, then I'll do it. I don't know what it is, but I like that. Or if somebody's hating on what I'm doing, then I'm gonna show you that I can do it, right? Not everybody's like that. I had a buddy where I'm like teasing him, making fun of him. I'm like, okay, you gotta lift that, do it. And he didn't like that, right? Some people like the encouragement. Oh, you're doing a great job. Keep going, stuff like that, right? What do you think of that?
Um, like I can't really talk from the personal trainer point of view because I'm not that. But it works, I think, in all aspects of life. In the relationship. So you as a personal trainer, you the reason why you're so good at what you do is because you have learned that each different client that you train responds to a different way of talk, it's a different relationship with each of them. Where like what you said, if you were training me and you said something like that to me, that would push me to go harder and do it because you know that that's how you get that out of me. Where someone else, it might be the total opposite, right? And they might literally just get up and quit on you because they don't appreciate you talking to them like that. And
Yeah.
so for that person, it's a different approach, which is like I think it's the same way in like how you talk to your kids and get your kids to do things, how you talk to your wife and like you communicate that way. I think it's really important that you just find the way of communication that works for the person you're dealing with. And I think that's a very hard skill to master. It's a very, very hard skill to know how to put into place when to put it in place. But I think when you can learn that skill, you really can get the most out of people.
And that goes beyond just training somebody, right? It goes for anything. When you learn, it's almost like learning empathy and learning just different ways to talk to people is so good for every situation. I think it gets you pretty far in life too. Like it's like learning manners almost.
Yeah.
Manners and morals and things like that, right?
Yeah.
If you learn how to talk to people, it goes pretty far.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. You are a very social person. You work out at many different places. You do jujitsu. Like a lot of the fitness activities that you do are with large groups of people. How have you been dealing with not being able to do that and that having that same form of communication with people?
I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. I really wish I was surrounded by not like I have moments where I want to be by myself and just grind myself, but I have a lot of moments where I want to be around people with like-minded goals, with a lot of energy to motivate me to. It's almost like fuel, right? It's like I have a fire right now. I just want a lot of fuel so that fire just lights right up, right? And that's how I feel about training with different people and just like doing this podcast. or doing different podcasts with different people is you kind of get their perspective and learn about what motivates them, which motivates you, which motivates the, you know what I mean? It all
Yeah.
works together. And that's what I think a lot of people are finding blessings through this COVID thing, through the situation. And that's one of the things that I really noticed right away is that I really enjoy being surrounded by people with a lot of good, positive energy, like-minded goals, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully sometime soon you'll be able to get back to some sort of aspect like that, right?
Oh man, yeah. I've been praying on it, man. It's coming, like we're in phase 1 by this time. What is it's May and almost end of May. It's been a few months. This is pretty crazy time.
Now, what about like jujitsu? Because like I know that is like that is like one of your top passions, right? Like that is something you absolutely love to do. And now without any control, it's been taken away from you essentially. Like how are you dealing with that?
Again, it's not easy. You know how you talked about weightlifting, how it relieves stress for you? And don't get me wrong, and don't take this a weird way, guys, but like choking somebody or controlling somebody is, or arm barring somebody is that thing for me. It's not about smitting people or anything like that. It's just, you can't just go out and like arm bar people in real life. So you do it in the gym and it's all good. It's kind of like that. It's just a stress reliever where it's physical and you're learning a different skill that can potentially help you, right? So to me, yeah, it's my stress reliever. And so is working out and stuff like that. But there's nothing that compares to that. I think because it challenges my mind also physically. It's like a double whammy for me. So I can see why it's kind of messing me up sometimes. But yeah, I miss it.
Now we've talked about this a few times previously, like why, like the main reason why I've never been able to dive into it is because I just haven't had the time to be able to dedicate it to it. Do you think like jujitsu is such a sport where you're always trying to perfect your skill? Now, do you think with this long period of time away from it, how will that work with your skill level? Do you think you're losing some? Do you think you'll be able to maintain?
um, I compare this a lot with chess and a lot of ways that I approach things. Just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean I can't get better at it. So like in my mind, I'm always like figuring out, okay, like if I do this, I do this. It's kind of like chess, right? So I'm thinking of strategies in my mind and still trying to get better. It doesn't mean I just, if I don't want to get better, that's it. You won't get better, right? But I'm constantly looking for things. Even when I'm working out, I'm like, okay, if I have better grips, it's going to help me at jiu-jitsu. If I keep staying fit, it's going to help me get back into jiu-jitsu, right? Um, and you could use that approach on anything, right? So if you have to step away from something, doesn't mean that you're going to get worse. Well, sometimes depends, right? Depends on how you look at it. Sometimes when you get back into something, you've been thinking about it, strategizing and doing different things for it, you almost come back better. It's like, and this is the worst way to learn something, but when you get injured, and I've been injured only a couple times, but I came back way better. Because sometimes you go too quick and you're not thinking about different ways to get better. You think of this one path going super quick is the way to go. Sometimes it isn't. It's about learning every aspect of that thing that you want to get better at. Right? Now you're approaching it from a different strategy. You have two strategies for this one goal instead of this one thing that you went too quick on. You know what I mean? Sorry if I went.
100%.
Every time I talk about jiu-jitsu, I just go too crazy.
But like what you
You
just
know what
said
I
isn't
mean?
just about jujitsu. That's like anything in life in general, right? Like sometimes you need that slow down period to come out even stronger and be better going back into it.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Um, so again, I'm jealous of your sauna. fact there, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I know you use it often. Has it helped you a lot with stress and dealing with different situations? Is it almost like meditation to you? And what do you think of meditation, if that's the case?
So, it's not as much like meditation for me. It's more for recovery. Like
Okay.
I'm a big believer in mobility. I'm a big believer that just as I like to lift weights and go hard, I need equal recovery so that my body can go back and do it again. Back like I think almost maybe 10 years ago now, I really hurt my back and like crippled me. I could still move around and do stuff, but like the nagging pain that was there all the time, it just like I wasn't up for it. And I was always having to go to massage therapists and chiropractors and like getting people to make it better. And it would make it feel better for a little bit and then it would go back. And it was almost like my laziness that like I was relying on them to fix my body and I wasn't doing any work to fix my own body. And that's where I really like started learning about mobility and different tools that you can use for recovery. So like I have like one of those like Theraguns, like the massage guns. I use that. I use foam rollers, lacrosse balls, bands, stretching, the sauna. Um, they're all different tools that I use for recovery. Now, I do this thing on Sundays where like Sunday's a day where I don't work out, I don't do anything. I usually like maybe I'll go for like a little run or a little bike ride, but Sundays are usually a day where like it's like a recovery day for me. And I'll usually get the sauna nice and hot, and that's like a day where I just like to stretch. I'll do like 5 minutes on in the sauna, 2 minutes out, stretch a little bit, go back in, and I'll do that for like 20, 30 minutes just to really get the body loose and feeling good. And on those days, I usually like set it an intention. And when I go in there, I just focus it. I have my journal in there and I just write down everything that comes to mind. And that's like one of the forms of meditation for me. Um, During this whole COVID thing, funny enough, I started uh, meditating again. Like I have an app that I use, and I started off like every morning I wake up and do 5 minutes just to sort of like ease into it because I've tried this before where I say I'm going to do 10 minutes a day, and although it doesn't sound like a lot, it ends up being a lot, and you overwhelm yourself and you can't do it. So I'm not doing it every single day, but on the days where I remember and I'm like really dialed in, I'll do like a 5 to 10 minute like guided meditation. And I find that it just really helps uh, focus your mind, and then that translates into all other aspects in life. Because like the big thing about meditation is really just like focusing and being present and in the moment, right? So I find that it helps me out, like maybe when my kid's doing something that's like really, really frustrating and like you're about to snap, but it's just like you calm yourself down with it, you bring yourself back to the present moment. You can use that. It's like another tool. Like I said, I have all these tools for recovery. Meditation is just another one of those tools that you can use in your life. um but yeah, like the sauna recovery, I wouldn't be able to do all the stuff that I do without making sure that I focus that my body's feeling good and ready to go every single day.
I love that. One big thing that I took from that is that you kind of at the beginning you kind of use like the band-aid type strategy where you go into these places and you're depending on them, right? How I like to look at that is like if you're always depending on somebody else to provide you with money or food and stuff like that, when you're able to go out and get it yourself, like it's like teach a man. I'm gonna mess this up right now because I can't think. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever or whatever, and then if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, right? So
Yeah.
I butchered that, by the way,
No,
guys.
it's,
I'm so sorry.
you get the point though,
Yeah,
right?
you
You
get the
get the
point.
point.
Yeah. So like instead of using the band-aid type strategy, you're building yourself up. So you went out and learned how to recover on yourself, You're doing the sauna, you're doing all these other strategies, which, you know, that's going to help you long term without now in conjunction with these other things, it's beautiful, right?
Yeah. Yes. So I was using them as a band-aid, but then I turned them into just another tool. So I'm not only relying on that. I use that with everything else now too. So like, I think like going to get a massage is good. Sometimes that's just what you need, but
Mm-hmm.
instead of that's the only thing that I'm doing to make myself feel better, it's now just one of the extra tools that I use to recover.
Exactly. I love
Yeah.
that.
What about you? Do you meditate? Like how is that part of
uh,
your routine at all?
I kind of just do the whole driving meditation when I'm driving to work. I'm just thinking about my day, how I'm going to play it out. Usually things don't always play out exactly how you want it to be, and that's fine. And I think if you prep for that also, it's okay. It helps you too. Um, I usually plan a couple days ahead. We talk about this all the time, but yeah, plan a couple days ahead, and then the day of, I usually plan. Okay, what hour am I going to do this thing? And people think it's weird when I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to go do this thing at 9 o'clock," and they're like, "Why would you pick a time for that?" I'm like, "Oh, just it gives me a time frame for myself to be like, okay, let's try to get it done. I think if you put effort to it, most likely it will get done." Right, but usually that's how I get all my goals done in a day, or most of my goals in a day, is strategizing like that. And that's my driving meditation helps me with that. So I have to drive like an hour 45 minutes to work, so it gives me a little bit of time to think for
Yeah, yeah.
myself.
Yeah, for
And it's
sure.
really early, there's nobody on the road at that time, so
I'm the same way. Like I've commuted a lot of years for work too, and sometimes just like that time alone in the car, you can just clear your head and set things out, right?
mhm.
All right, guys. Well, that is gonna wrap up. This is gonna be a two-part episode. Part two, Hawk and I are gonna dig in a little deeper how life has been with our kids and family during COVID. So stay tuned for part two. Once again, thanks everyone for listening, and yeah, we hope you guys we hope you guys like what we have to say in part two.
Yeah, and like expect us to do different things this time around. We're gonna do a couple of Q&As on Instagram, so we'll post before we go on there, and hopefully you guys join us. Dan and I are gonna get together for different things, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy.
Yeah. All right, cheers guys.
Have a good day.